Spark has a uniform interface to all the supported clusters. So what that means is that we have one set of scripts which work on however our cluster is configured, whether it's standalone or whatever. So if you look at the documentation here, which is submitting applications, you'll see there are instructions for the various possibilities of clusters. We'll be running standalone mostly, but it is the same interface. And one thing you'll notice, by the way, is that we won't be running jars because we're using the Python version. You can just submit your completed executable Python files through submit. Now, there are a sequence of actions that we go through. In particular, the execution is controlled via a master. We need to start the master on our cluster. Once that is started, it will be available through a web-based interface on port 8080. We can look at that master. That will tell us the URL that it is using. It uses a special URL format. It starts with Spark : We'll be able to look at that in a minute. So this is important because the next thing we need to do is start at least one worker. The worker will be responsible for monitoring and controlling the execution. This will takes the master URL. So you would say start worker Spark : I've grayed that out, but that's going to vary depending on what the image IP or whatever is. In fact, it'll be a container ID, and usually it will choose this port. Now, so far we've not actually done anything. So you start the master, confirm its URL. Then you start the worker. These operations are done through the terminal. You can either get to the terminal through a Jupyter notebook and go to the terminal application, or we'll also see how to execute that on the cluster without going through Jupyter. Finally, you say Spark submit -- master, and then give the address of the master, which we've got from here before. So it's the same one as here. And you pass in your program.py. Now, there are web interfaces for all of these different services. So you could start the master, look at the worker. That will show you how much memory is allocated. Start the worker. That will show you again number of cores, whatever it is. And the interesting part is when we run submit, you'll be able to monitor the progress of your application, where it's using various amounts of memory, what step it's up to, and so on. So all of these are available directly in our container. So as I said, Spark uses a web-based interface. In fact, it uses multiple ports. The master, as I said, is on port 8080. The executor is on 8081. And once jobs are running, they're available through port 4040. So this does get a little bit complicated. Let's see how we do this now.